This story is not for the faint of heart. It is a tale of 2 siblings, 3 countries, and almost 127 hours. Jacob and I headed to the airport fairly late. He had just gotten out of his last final, and I had gotten home 2 days before. I mean, we were prepared for the most part thanks to our mom's pre-planning and our limited packing space. With 3 other bags filled with supplies, we had room for just 1 more bag that we would both fill with all of our clothes for the next month. The next month's travels ensured that our bag was filled with some ridiculous items. I mean, we were supposed to move from the 75 and sunny Ethiopian climate to the negative 75 and freezing German climate. I mean, it was a tricky pack, but all you really need is a few pairs of underwear and a coat, right? Right? The airport was so much smoother than either of us anticipated. Even security wasn't that much of a hassle. You see, after such a nice beginning to our trip, we could not have anticipated what was to come. And it came all right in the form of a massive blizzard. Perhaps you heard of it, the Frankfurt Blizzard of 2010? Jacob and I were stuck in it. Something deep down in my gut told me we were going to miss our connecting flight to Addis Ababa, and we most certainly did, but not for lack of effort. After exiting the entirely unorganized German security, I ran to the gate without any of my belongings. Yes, I ran barefoot through the airport to beg the attendants to please hold the flight for my brother and me. I ran, and I ran, and I ran, and we still missed the flight. So I turned around and I ran back towards security, where my brother met me halfway. He had all of his belongings and none of mine. So I ran again to gather up all my bags, which by this point I had thought had already been incinerated in some sort of unattended baggage oven. They were still, luckily, all there. So now we were stranded in Germany, which wasn't exactly ideal for multiple reasons. Let me quickly explain something to you. We may look German, but that can only get us so far. Once we opened our mouths and American English came out, we became the enemy. I also admittedly was super grumpy, but before you judge me, try on an empty stomach, suffering a 10-hour flight and then subsequently missing your next flight because of a blizzard, and you tell me if you'd be grumpy. My point exactly. I know what you're thinking. They don't look so hot. We didn't feel so hot. After missing the flight, we immediately tried to get other tickets to Ethiopia so that we could make it there ASAP and not get too far off schedule. But the man at the counter gave us nothing. Nada, zippo, niente, zilch, put it however you'd like. We received nothing but a free dinner and hotel room, which I realize sounds lovely, but Heidelberg is an hour drive away from the airport, and that is not Ethiopia. But what were we to do? The lines were horrendous. We actually found out the next day that over 2,000 people were stranded with us because of the blizzard, and each of those 2,000 were looking for compensation of some sort in the form of a hotel room. Needless to say, we weren't even aware of the blessing of a hotel room until after the fact. Throughout the countless hours we spent in the airport, we played games to pass the time. In the terminals, in the taxi to Heidelberg.
My father had a rooster.
A what?
A rooster.
My father had a rooster.
A what?
A rooster.
My father had a rooster.
A what?
A rooster.
Could he crow?
He crowed.
However big and comfy that bed looked after such a strenuous day, I can't say we used it very much. I told Jake we had to get up by 3 a.m. so that we could get a taxi and get back to the airport to get in line to get tickets. And that's exactly what we did. Up and out by 3 and back to the airport by around 4:30. For those of you who may not know me all that well, you have to understand that I do not like confrontation. But on minimal sleep, I can become quite a nasty piece of work, and especially at 6 in the morning, you do not want to mess with me. And this Lufthansa agent was messing with me. I can pretend like I had the last word. I mean, he apologized to me first, after all, and I certainly yelled at him first, so it would appear I got the last word. But I now realize I was very wrong. He definitely, without question, got the last word. There were 2 massive battles that this Lufthansa agent won, and I didn't even realize it. He promised us on December 19th, I believe, 2010, that all of our bags, the 3 supply bags and 1 of our personal bags, would be traveling with us to Addis Ababa, and they would be waiting there for us when we got there. That didn't happen. We didn't even see our own personal belongings bag until mid-February this year when it finally made it back home.
Yes, this is from a genuine airport security camera, and those are real airline employees. There goes that Ming vase for Auntie Vera, Cousin John's new laptop, and oops, a near miss for those ceramic sculptures imported from New Zealand.
He also got us an indirect flight to Ethiopia, which, to me, felt like a victory on my part. I never thought we would get tickets, so I felt a bit empowered after we were confirmed seats. Except as I walked away, tickets in hand, it took me a second to realize that he was sending us through the Khartoum airport as transit passengers. Our connecting flight was in Sudan. Call me crazy, but trying to make my way through the Khartoum airport in Sudan has never exactly been a huge dream of mine. Just the thought of it kind of freaked me out, and the look of the airport didn't help much either. Not to mention we arrived in the middle of the night. Nothing was very comforting about this place. Right after we landed, things were weird. They refused to understand why we didn't have visas, regardless of how many times I explained that we never had any intention of staying anywhere near Sudan. They brought us into a separate room, filled with officers, and all of them were talking in Arabic, and I just sat there next to Jacob praying for safety and peace, and that they would grant us access to our next flight. Our family knew where we were, and it turns out we all had little nightmares about what could have happened to us. But nothing did. They gave us some trouble. We are Americans after all, and made us wait a few hours, but then they let us board our small plane to Addis Ababa, where our family was waiting to welcome us with open arms. We never did get those supply bags or our personal bag. I spent the next month raiding my twin suitcase for clothing, and Jacob got to go on a small Ethiopian shopping spree for a new pair of boxers. But just like we always thought, not having the bag didn't make one bit of a difference. Once we were in Dessie, the only things our Ethiopian friends cared about was that we were there to visit them. Oddly enough, we had just enough supply-filled sports bags that we bought in Addis Ababa for grades kindergarten through 10th. 649 to be exact, and not one to spare. The kids were thrilled to eat popcorn that we bought in Dessie and watch a film starring themselves created by Becca Productions.
Yeah. Easier? Yeah. How come?
Okay, don't trust me.
Yeah, you don't got it?
Adorable, so we can be smiling. Oh, there we go. Oh my gosh. Gorgeous one right there. It's Sarah. don't know what heads dirty, use cleaning cassette means, but that's what it just warned me. We are filling these trays up with popcorn. Lots of trays. Now the popcorn's going out to all of the students. Let's see, look, each one. Do they like it? By George, I think they like it. Look at him. Look how much he's enjoying it. She's loving it.
Our trip, the entire journey just proved that we had the big man upstairs watching over us every step of the way. And to be completely honest with you, I relished the idea of having a good story to tell. Getting caught in a blizzard in Frankfurt and stuck in Khartoum weren't exactly on my list of top 10 things I'd like to do over winter break, but now I can say that I've been to Sudan. And it turns out, you really don't need more than a few pairs of underwear and a coat.
There we go!